Hi, everybody. It's Mike Newman. It's Sunday night with ILXCTF. Hopefully, you watch us before the Bears game. Go Bears. 1-0. Let's see what happens. Maybe 2-0. Aaron Rodgers owns us. Come on, guys. You got to admit that right now. He's been so dominant against the Bears. Maybe this is a different year. Any case, did you all have a good week? I mean, I can't wait for it to get cooler because this hydrating is a normal thing for running, but for me, I don't want to drink like 10 gallons of water the day before a meet, running to the bathroom every 15 minutes and things like that. So I made it through this week. Let's put it that way. I want to thank John O'Malley from Sandburg. So right before the start of the boys varsity race, John comes up to me. He's going, "Here, you're going to need this today. I don't want what happened to you last week happen again." And he's like, "And I appreciate you." And I'm like, "I appreciate that. That meant a lot." So thank you, John. Your team ran great. So we're going to talk about Peoria mainly. Richard Spring. We're going to really talk hard about the girls' race. It'll be more of a cynical narrative. I know. Consider the source. That's what I always do. And then you kind of laugh, and then you move on. So let's look at it this way, okay? York and Prospect, top two teams in the state. Everybody's talking about Grace Shager and Connor Burns. We'll get to both of them. But watching the Frost-Off girls race, and as they came by at 2 miles, you saw Beerbaum and you saw Zoe Carter. I'm like, where are the Prospect girls? Where's Zaneta? Where's Peterson? They weren't there. And I'm walking after I finished the finish of the Frost-Off race, videotaping that. I went out. I was starting to walk towards to the tree where I usually shoot. I see Lauren DeAngelis, and she's like, they didn't run them in the Frost-Off race. Oh, this should be fun. And it was. You don't normally see 53, 54 1-point races. You may see like 186 to 187 every once in a while. But not those kind of races where the point total is so low. And the racing was so good. That was the best race of the season right now. We could run a ton of more races, and we're going to look back at this race going, wow, wasn't that a good race? So putting those two Frost-Off runners in there was a difference in that race, in that team race for Prospect. It solidified their pack more up front. When you see you have 5 runners together at the mile, so did York. York had 7. And there was only like a 2-point disadvantage at that point for York. It was like 64-66 for Prospect. So both teams are running well together. Prospect has separated their first 2 meets, still ran good. They ran second to York the week before, but their pack disintegrated, and their pack stayed close together throughout. Zaneta and Haley Erickson broke away, and Bria Bennis went with them. York's pack stayed back. I think the key to the race happened in that second mile, where Prospect made these moves. They were up by 13 points on York after 2 miles. And I'm watching it. I think you could hear me going, wow, I think Prospect has this right now. But that's right now. York moved the final mile. I think if they would have moved a little more before that, we may have seen a different finish, but we didn't. How do I want to say this? The race was won up front. It's usually York's pack, and we'll get into that. But Prospect had 3 runners in before York's second runner, and that did it. When you go 3, 5, 9, when York goes 10, 11, 13, well, not much is going to really happen with that when you have 3, 5, 9 up front. They won the race on that. They won the team title on that. So you had Erickson third, Zaneta fifth, running like a 13-second PR. Meg Peterson, who didn't have a great race the week before at Lake Park. Boy, did she bounce back. She gets 9th overall. And then Samantha Patterson runs a tremendous race, 14th, and Cameron Calloway, 28th. Just think about this. Think about this. Calloway is their 5th runner, and Lily Ginsburg didn't have her best race. She was 34th. Can you imagine if those 2 runners are up front like they have been? It'd be pretty amazing, you know? So, York, then is 4th. She was 5 seconds behind Erickson, but she was 12 seconds ahead of Zaneta. And then Michaela Quinn was York's 2nd runner, 10th. Klein 11th. Berger 13th. They had an 8-second split on those. Then they had like another 10 to 12-second split. And then York's 2nd pack came in. So York had 4 runners in before Prospect's 4th. But that doesn't matter because Prospect's first 3. But then York 21, 23, 25, and only 2 seconds separate. I don't know who got in between those 3 runners. And then Calloway was 28th. If Calloway would have fallen back any more, we would have seen a tie. And then it goes to the 6th runner, and York had 7 runners in before Prospect's 5th. But here again, it doesn't matter because they had 3 runners in before York's 2nd runner. What a great race. 53 to 54. Downers Grove North was 3rd with 202 points. Can you imagine that? And then Hersey ran their best race of the year. I don't think they ran a good race starting out at Fenton. But boy, did they come back and run great here. 262 points to get 4th. Oswego East ran a great race. 5th. Oak Park River Forest ran super too. So there's going to be a lot of changes in that top 30 altogether. We'll have to wait and see. We did find out that there was a pack of, we have York, Prospect in York, and then Naperville North. We'll see how Naperville North running in Griak this weekend, this Friday. That's going to be good. Watch Naperville North dominate. They should win. They really should win. But those 3 teams have separated themselves from everybody else in 3A. We'll see what Naperville Central does. We'll see what all these other teams do, moving around, jockeying around. In the girls' race, Grace Shager at Glenbar North. So she's the real thing. Now, she's genuine. She's still learning this running thing, which is kind of a cool thing. Whichever college is going to get her, boy, you're really lucky. Because here's somebody who's talented, who's just figuring out this running thing. She ran 16 minutes last week. And usually you tend to run a little bit faster after Lake Park to Peoria. And that didn't happen. So I'm thinking the splits at the mile and the 2 mile at Lake Park were a little bit farther around. So I'm thinking maybe the course changed a little bit. At that curve after a 3/4 of a mile before the mile and the 2 mile, you know, right around the gate and all that, they put a sidewalk in there. So I think it's a little bit shorter. I think if you run on the old course, if you run the tangents, it's 2.98. If you just run the course the way it was designed, it's 3 miles. But tangents are 2.98. I think with these tangents, it's even a little bit shorter now. That's just my guess. I don't have any proof. Somebody go take a wheel out there and wheel it and tell me. I don't care. But Grace Shager running 16:07.6. There were some people going, "Oh God, he's gonna run! It's gonna be a new state record." I pointed out that what Pendergast had done. I didn't know if she was going to do it. It's the middle of September. You don't tempt the cross-country gods by saying, I'm going to go out and set a course record at Detweiler in the middle of September. Detweiler makes you honest. But at the same time, I liked what Grace said in the post-race interview. You can go see that on ILXCTF.runnerspace.com. Or you can click on ILX, my website, and you can click on the logo for the meet, and all the videos are there. But Grace said, we weren't listening to the noise. We weren't listening to the media noise. We had a plan. We were going to work on some things today. And what a good way to do that. I remember when Luke Winder was vaulting for Plainfield Central and watching him vault. And in the post-race interviews, he would say, yeah, I worked on this height, and then I took 3 attempts at this height. Now I know how that feels. I'll go after it the next time. And in most cases, he made that next height the following meet, or the following 2 meets. But he was preparing himself mentally for that challenge and how it was going to feel. That's what Grace did here. She went out a little bit faster to the first mile, 5:19. She wasn't going out that fast. Consider at Lake Park, she went through 2 miles in 10:55. She went through in 10:46 here. Is she going to get the course record? We'll have to wait and see. But she has that mind. She has that thinking to do that. And with weather that's a little bit cooler, when we get to November at Detweiler, maybe she does it. But time will tell. She's going to race at Lake Park 2 more times. So she's going to run Duquesne Conference there, and then 2 weeks later she's going to run the Lake Park Sectional there. And she's going to have no competition, and it's going to be on her own. And that's what she's going to have to do, because I don't see anybody getting close to her. She's put herself so far ahead of the game, and if she can stay healthy and she can do the little things like she's doing right now and staying genuine, Grace, stay genuine. You're a joy to talk to. You really are. One of her friends who runs for Wheaton North was standing by her after the boys' varsity race was over, and Grace's coach brought me over, walked me down to the area, and was like, "We waited around for you. We knew you were going to be busy," and I really appreciated that. That meant a lot to me. But just joking around with Grace and going, "You let him beat you? Come on. He ran 16 minutes. You ran 16:08. Come on." And it was a joke. She was laughing about it. But here's somebody who gets it, and somebody who's real, and somebody who's classy. And it's good to see people involved in the sport like that. There are so many runners that are like that. I wish that everybody involved in the sport was like that. But Grace, so she ran 16:07.6. You're running 16:07.6 in the middle of September. Come on. It was just a great race. I said, well, I said in the video, there goes the record. But she's going to have a chance to do it again. And she will. And she could do some great things. We don't know where she's going to race next. She's not going to run at Falcon, the Wheaton North Girls Falcon Classic, that flighted race. She's deciding between either running at Nike Twilight. That would be interesting with her and Tatum David running against each other. Or she's going to run at Naperville Twilight. And she could really destroy the course record there. But time will tell. We will see. Any case, let's talk about the boys' race. I want to talk about Connor Burns. Boy, when he puts his mind to something, we saw that. He's like, I'm going to go out and break 4 minutes through the mile. He goes out and runs 3:58 at the Hoka Festival of Miles. He goes out to Brooks PR. I really want to run a fast time in 3,200. He runs 8:45. I'm going to drive 300 miles to Peoria, and I'm going to set the course record. That's what he said. He's like, yeah, that was the goal. We're thinking of running faster, 13:40. So one of the people that I know who is a state champion and was a state champion in Illinois said something to me, and I was thinking the same thing. So I'm keeping off the record. You know who you are and all of this, but you don't spite Detweiler Park. Detweiler Park will get you. We saw that with Spurs Bickus. He was on pace. That holy gust of wind from the south, and the wind was blowing from the south yesterday. So maybe that wind was going, no. You're not going to do this on my grounds this early in the year. You don't fool around with the cross-country gods when it comes to Detweiler Park. I mean, I've been out nationally, out to Nike Nationals where coaches are going, you Illinois people, and that course at State is so flat. I'm like, really? Well, how many times have you run it? How many times has your team run there? There was one team, like when I first got back here from New York, that was running in this meet. They're running it versus the finisher, Woodruff, or whatever you want to call it. And they were ranked high nationally. And they ran, and they got 11th. And they're like, this course is so difficult. He's like, it's not as hilly as the courses that we run on, but you got to be at your best shape. You got to run hard. You got to run hard the entire race, and then you got to deal with those 3 little inclines, 4-degree inclines coming up towards the finish, and you have to run them 3 times. Burns said afterwards, he's like, he was off pace by 7 seconds. He was 4:33 at the mile. Methner went through in 4:27. He was 9:20 at 2, so he was still keeping the pace, but he was only 7 seconds behind what Methner ran. Methner was at 9:13. And then Methner the last mile. How many times did Josh run that course? 5, 6, 7 times, maybe 8 times. Yeah, 8 times. Because he always ran at Richard Spring, and then he would come down here. So he ran here as a freshman, too. So he knew how this course was run. His coach knew how the course was run. I'd like the comment that I asked, well, did your dad's run here twice? What kind of advice did he give you? His dad ran state twice. He's like, don't run as bad as I did, which I kind of laughed about that. But his mother, yeah, I mean, let's talk about his mother. His mother was a state champion at Rushville in 1996 and 1997. So those genes are pretty strong. You know why he broke 4 minutes. Well, a little of it through biological chemistry and all that stuff, but he has a desire. He has that it. We've talked about the it before. He has that it. That was only his 2nd race of the year, and to come out and run 14:22, that's pretty good. Fastest time this year at Detweiler so far. So he went by in 9:20, and then he said, my legs weren't feeling good coming up the 2nd time. Despite the Detweiler Park gods, the cross-country gods, because he'll pay for it. And he ran a 5:02 last month, 14:22. He won by 20 seconds. Somebody else. Well, he went through the half in 2:09. I'm like, oh, here we go. So he said that. The one thing his dad said, don't fall asleep in the triangle. So let me make this clear. It's not the horse head. It's not the Bermuda Triangle. Are you kidding me? For those that call it the Bermuda Triangle, come on, you guys are smarter than that. Well, maybe not, but it's been the triangle since every time that I've run here since 1977. You'll see an oak tree when you're going in the triangle. There's an oak tree in the middle of that path before you make that winding turn to get to that 1.5 miles where you're kind of following the road. You would make a sharp left turn around that oak tree, and then you would head straight back towards the exit, going back onto the main course. That's why it got the name the triangle. Now it's like a rhombus, something like that. So it's not the Bermuda Triangle. What? Runners go back there and they never return? Sorry, we've had to cancel the state meet. No runners came out of the triangle. They disappeared. You know how many meets have been canceled because all the runners have disappeared from Detweiler Park? 0. That's my cynical narrative for today. Hey! Team-wise, Hinsdale Central, #1 team in the state, did not have 2 of their top 7 runners, one of them Daniel Watkey. Daniel was on a college visit. But Aiden Bandukwala, 14:45. Aiden, I can't wait to see what you run in November. Jeez. So Hinsdale ran good. They had 3 runners up there. The 4th runner was a little bit back. The fifth runner was farther back. And that was that. Let's talk a little West Suburban Silver cross country. I can't wait till that conference meet because you have Hinsdale Central. It's going to be great. It's going to be run at Catherine Legge, which makes that meet even better. You have Downers Grove North. You have Oak Park. Now, I had Oak Park ranked 4th at the beginning of the year. Anybody else have Oak Park ranked in the top 5? I don't see any hands. Okay. Oak Park scores 7. So Oak Park scores 79 points to win. Nice Nearhart. Can't remember his name. Sorry, Liam. Newhart. Liam Newhart. 1442 is the number 1 runner. They still ran a 45-second split on 5 runners. Go figure that. But they ran a 45-second split at Fenton before, so they have a nice little pack. They had like an 18, 19, 20 second, or 20. It was 28-second split on their first 4 runners, and then they had another gap of about 17 seconds. So, can you say that they're a trophy contending team? Yes. Can you say that the West Suburban Conference Silver is damn stinking filthy rich of talent right now? I would say yes. When you have 3 of the top 4 teams in the state that are in that conference is really going to be good. So we had Oak Park at 79 points. Hinsdale doesn't have everybody, 186. Wheaton Warrenville South. So Josiah Narayaran, sophomore, son of the North Central coach, women's coach, third run, was 25th, leading Wheaton Warrenville South. Wheaton Warrenville South has a nice little pack there. But they were third. Sandburg runs a great race, led by the 11:15 or 11:16 finish by Anderson and Giblin. Giblin looking good. Glad to see that he's running nicely. So 2:16. And then Lake Zurich in their first meet of the year, 258 points. A little garbly there. And then there was a big gap, and then Hersey with 330 points. So what can we say about the boys thing? I think maybe 4 teams that have separated. I think Plainfield South will be number 1 next week. That's a foregone conclusion. After Hinsdale Central is closer than we think to Plainfield South because they didn't run Watkey. I think you throw Watkey in there and it's a little bit closer. I think Hinsdale Central only ran 5 runners too. So I think their 5th runner was like 105th. So you take about 80 points off of that with Watkey in there, and then it's a lot closer. So I heard a few people going, "Oh my God, Hinsdale's done." Hinsdale's not done. It's the middle of September. So it's we got to take these things. Kids are going to take college visits. Kids are going to be a little bit under the weather. York's number 1 runner, Aiden Hill, didn't run. York got 12. They put Hill in there along with their 2 sophomores that their Frost Soft team won the Frost Soft Invite there. York finishes 8th overall. So, York's another team to keep an eye on. But in that, there are right now 8 teams fighting for 7 spots at Hinsdale Central, or at the Waubonsee Valley sectional. I didn't want to go into that, but and then the girls sectional there is just even worse. Well, we won't get into that. Wouldn't want to give a cynical narrative there. Wouldn't be prudent. Wouldn't be a great thing. You want to be positive all the time. You want to deny things aren't going on. That's the truth there. Oh my gosh. So let's look at some other things too. At Highland, Dylan Nally. Now, Marion didn't run a super great race the week before at the Forest Park Cross Country Festival in St. Louis. They got 6th. But they ran better this week. At Highland, Dylan Nally, 1440. He runs in Peoria in 2 weeks, so that'll be a real cool thing to watch. Marion only scored 30 points, beats Champaign Central, who's a top 10 team also with 59 points. Champaign Central ran everybody too. So Marion ahead of Champaign Central right now? I think so. What else? Mario Torres of Buffalo Grove at the Warren Invitation, at the Bill Dawson Invitational at Warren Township. Mario Torres, a 12-second win over a sophomore from Prem, Rory Gann. Fremd wins it by 5 points over Evanston. Do they move into the top 30? I don't know. I don't think so. The girls' side, Crystal Lake Central, Cary Grove went 1-2 in that meet. Bella Gonzalez of Crystal Lake Central won that individually. So they're going to run it. Crystal Lake South runs in Peoria in 2 weeks also. And they'll run against Dunlop. Dunlop won fairly easy in their own invite. Eureka didn't put their top 7 in there. So they should have won easily. But the one thing, and I haven't looked at the results or anything like that, but Lakes got 5th in that meet. And it looks like they had their top 3 runners in there. I haven't looked yet. I haven't looked to see, well, did they run their top 5? What's going on there? So that'll be interesting to see. What else? Caneland. Downers Grove North got back to packing. 26-second split on 5 runners. 29 points. Riley Newport came back 14:57 to win it. And then Horgan of Belvedere North was 4 seconds behind. One matchup that we didn't see at Richard Spring was Marcellus Mines. Marcellus was second at the mile. He was 4:40 through the mile. He had to drop out just before 2. His coach said that he had some back spasms. He was doing better after the meet was over. But when you get back spasms, that kind of stinks. So that's about it. I'm not going to really go into sectionals and all that. If you read what I read, and I think we had in 2 days we had over 20,000 hits. That's pretty good. And then I took it down. I think the seed's been playing, and a lot of discussion needs to go on with that. Even though some of the parasites out there don't agree with me, you gotta listen to the truth. I'm sure if there's a viable idea that coaches come up with, that Craig Garber will listen to it. He'll listen to any good ideas. So let's just keep it at that. I really love cross country. I'm too passionate about it. I mean, I didn't throw up on Saturday. I didn't pull over. I made it home in 2 hours and 10 minutes. Got a lot of things done. I thank you for the timing companies and the host schools that put your results in. You others, oh well. What can you do? What can you do? I think the one message that we can say about all of these things, and one thing that we can say, I saw a lot of kids that were upset afterwards at Richard Spring. I ran a bad race a month before my state meet, my junior year, and I worked my butt off because I said I wasn't going to let that happen again, and I ran about 15 seconds faster a month later. I really got lucky. I mean, I never won a meet at Detweiler Park, but I was on some teams that won. So it's like, if you don't have all of these, what is this? All of these little things here, shut up. I mean, please. I ran 4 races, and I ran every race better than the last. So I can say that. I think that was a good thing. I think the one thing that you can say is the greatest achievement in life is not never falling, but rising again after you fall. That's something that Vince Lombardi said. I think it's an old Chinese proverb. Mr. Newton told us that all the time, and I lived by that. I mean, you can get knocked down. You can have a bad race. Guess what? You get another chance the next week. How cool is that? But you get to work again. I'm glad when I was running that there was no social media. You'd have fans that, as you're warming up before meet cones, would go, "Dork sucks, you guys stink." And we'd be warming up and going, "Yeah, go out and kick butt. So that's how it is in life now with social media. You know, anybody can have a social media account. And I think, what was that Star Wars thing? Obi-Wan said, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful. Strike me down. I'm still here. I'll always be here. I'll be here for you guys. The greatest achievement in life, too, is loving what you do. Loving life, loving running, loving your teammates, loving your parents, loving your coaches. And ignore the noise that's out there. Give up social media. Give up reading what I say. You can read my stuff after the season's over, but give it up and just focus on you and focus on the good things that you can do, not only on the track, but also off the course. And great things will happen. There's one thing I said that I wasn't going to mention anything, but I'm sorry to the coach I was talking to on Saturday morning before the meet started. There's an athlete in Illinois that was really good last year, and some things happened where he's not going to be able, they are not going to be able to compete again. They're going to be a senior this year. So what I can say, and if you're not spiritual, I'm sorry, I'm a very spiritual person, and I'm very forgiving. I don't forget. I don't have a bad side, but I'm as vindictive as hell, which is not Christianly. That's not Christ-like. It's not how God wants you to be. But on this Sunday night, doors will open for you that you can't explain. Things will happen for you that you can't explain, and you can't. I mean, you try to figure things out, and you're like, well, why did this happen, or why did that happen, and things like that. Believe in yourself. Believe in, like I said, believe in your family, believe in your teammates, believe in your classmates, believe in your friends, believe in your brother and sister and your mom and dad and your grandparents, aunts and uncles. But all I can say is enjoy life. And enjoy the next time you step on the line and you're like, I get to race, I get to run. For those of you that can't do that, you're going to be able to accomplish so many things that you never imagined that you can do. And that's such a cool thing in life, because that's what it's all about. So I'm going to stop here before I get really sentimental and very teary-eyed and all that other stuff. So we have Palatine coming up. Should be a great meet. Oak Park will be there. Hinsdale and Plainfield South will be there. Now, both those teams are running the following week in Terre Haute at the Nike Twilight meet. Whether they run their top runners, yet to be seen. But Marcellus Mines will be back there. Should be some great races. Didn't see Brooke Johnson from Lake Zurich, and Lake Zurich is going to be at Palatine. So hopefully nothing's wrong with her. She comes back strong. But we should see some great races on that little forest preserve to the west of Palatine. Or the north of Palatine. Northwest of Palatine? I don't know. So everybody have a great week. We'll talk again soon. And that's about it. So go Bears. It's Mike Newman signing off for Sunday Night with ILXCTF. Have a good night. Bye.